Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my 2018 DVD and Blu-ray collection overview. Okay, so this time around, we're going to be checking out this shelf here, which has quite a variety of stuff. I've got actually a little bit of family-friendly horror at the beginning here, and then we get into what I call the classy horror movies, so a lot of haunted house movies and ghost stories and stuff like that. And some kind of, weird experimental ones that are a little bit different than the average horror movie. And then from there we get into the found footage, and there's the Stephen King section here, and also some anthology horror to top it all off. So let's check it out. Okay, so starting off here, I have kind of the horror comedy section. So slide these out here. Got the one and only HD DVD in my collection. We have Slither. This actually does also include the DVD. I do not have an HD DVD player. And then we have Bad Milo. And one of my favorites, and one I kind of watch sort of traditionally every Halloween, The Cabin in the Woods. Okay, how's this go? It goes like this, yeah. There we go. You can sort of see with the lenticular slipcover. Love this movie. Great stuff. And then, of course, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, 35th Anniversary Edition. Very nice. The digibook. And I forgot to show you the back of Cabin in the Woods, so there's the back of Cabin in the Woods. There we go. And then we have Ghostbusters. Now just give me a second here. Let me show you. We've got a lot of Ghostbusters. We have the original Blu-ray release of Ghostbusters. There you go. We have the mastered in 4K release of Ghostbusters with the slipcover. This was essentially Sony's Blu-ray version of Superbit. So it's still 1080. It just means that they used a higher quality master. Then finally we have the digibook of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Finally got a release of Ghostbusters 2 on Blu-ray. And essentially this is the same contents. Look, the soundtrack on CD and LP. Very cool. It's the same contents as the individual releases. And I believe it has the mastered in 4K edition. I think. I could be completely wrong. Ghostbusters. All new special features. Okay, no, this is new. This is different. Anyway, all slightly different editions despite the... Which one? There, okay. Despite the near identical covers. And then, of course, to be complete, I also have the recent reboot, Ghostbusters Answer the Call, with the nice shiny slipcover. And there we go. So we got all our Ghostbusters action there. Very nice. Very, very nice. And as most of you will know, I also have the complete series of the real Ghostbusters, the big Firehouse set. You can check out my section on, I think it's part 3 of my 80s and 90s cartoon overviews. Also, I did a 5-part closer look at that set a while back. You can check that out as well. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to clear the stuff off the top here. So then going from this end, we have the Addams Family. And did you know, at the time of this recording, this is the only one of the new movies that's on Blu-ray. All the others are DVD only. So Addams Family Reunion, Addams Family Values, Only on DVD. Actually, I think Addams Family Reunion is only on VHS. So Addams Family Values is on DVD, but yeah, need to get that one of these days. All right. And then, of course, we have Beetlejuice. How does this one go? Does this go like... No. Does it go like this? Oh, yeah, there we go. You can kind of see it. There we go. Very rare lenticular slipcover. This is very nice. This was the, what was it? The 20th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. It doesn't really have much in the way of extras, to be honest. It's got a soundtrack CD sampler, so a few tracks from the soundtrack, and 3 episodes from the animated series, and the theatrical trailer. Whoop-de-doo. And then here we have this beautiful steelbook of Edward Scissorhands, which I guess isn't really a comedy. We're kind of into the family horror stuff now. And then we have Red Riding Hood, the alternate cut. Very nice lenticular slipcover there. And then we have... Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you the backs here, am I? So we got the back of Edward Scissorhands there. Is this a wraparound cover? No, it's not. And if we look inside, we got some nice sort of artwork inside there of his hedge carvings. Then we've got the Haunted Mansion, which I have quite a sizable theatrical standee of in my bedroom. And then Mad Monster Party, from the same folks who brought us all those wonderful claymation Christmas specials. There was a straight-up 2D animated sequel to this, which was put out on DVD, but is not available in Canada. Kind of annoying. And then Krampus, which could also go in the Christmas section, but I put it in the horror section. This has become a traditional movie for Rosie and I. Actually, every Christmas we watch this. She really loves it a lot. Donnie Darko, which some might say is more sci-fi, some might say is more horror. Well, I put it in the sci-fi, or the horror section. What section am I in? And then we get into what I like to call my classy horror sections. This is stuff with a little bit more classiness to it. It's actually, well, sort of classiness, ghost stories, and haunted house stuff. All kind of goes in this category here. So we have Rosemary's Baby, which I suppose I could have put in the hell section, but it's not strictly hell per se. We have The Uninvited, which I did a review of a while back. Really, really good stuff. Really enjoyed this one a lot. Wonderful classic ghost story. And then The Innocents, based on Henry James' Turn of the Screw, another longtime favorite of mine. This is such a great movie. And then we have The Haunting, another great one. No, I do not have the remake. I did see the remake in theaters, and the thing that's great about this is it's an exercise in minimalism. You really don't see much, if anything. It's all left up to your imagination. You hear a lot of things and such, but so it left a lot of it ambiguous. So is it real, or is it in the main character's head, and she's just kind of, having a group hallucination or encouraging a group hallucination? Who knows? In the remake, they made it very clear that it's real, because they had all these wonderful CG ghosts all over the place that looked terrible, and so it completely missed the point of what made the original so great. Then we have The Legend of Hell House, which is a wonderful British haunted house movie. I love this movie so much. I've watched it so many times. And then jumping ahead a few decades, we have The Conjuring, which I think is one of the best recent horror movies, period. Just fantastic. And then, of course, The Conjuring 2. I love that they basically created a cinematic universe out of this, of just sheer terror. And then a spin-off from The Conjuring, of course, we have Annabelle, about the possessed doll. And then Annabelle Creation. And there's more. There's The Conjuring 3 and I think there's another Annabelle coming out, and I think there's another one coming out as well that ties into them. So then we have the Insidious series. We've got the first one. I really like this series a lot. This one is, I'd call this more PG horror. It's not like overly terrifying, but it's still got some good scares in it. But really what keeps me coming back is I just really like the story and kind of how it's developed over the course of them. I've done a couple of videos about these before. Then we have Insidious Chapter 2 with the slipcover. I missed the slipcover on the first one. Very nice. And then Insidious 3, which I thought was a really solid prequel. So much so that you can actually start watching them with this one. Like watch this one, then go back and watch the first two. And this doesn't spoil anything about the first two. It just sets up the story quite nicely. And then we have Insidious the Last Key, which is the fourth one. At the time of this recording, I haven't actually watched this yet. And I bought it because I didn't see it with the slipcover anywhere, so I just assumed it didn't have one. And then I saw one with the slipcover after I had bought it, and I was like, damn it, it's the place I went to, just didn't have it. But just annoying. I hate having the inconsistency. But oh well, I guess I've come full circle. Started with no slipcover, had two slipcovers, and now I have no slipcover again. Whatever. Then we have Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Very underrated movie, actually. Not a lot of people talk about this one. I really like this one a lot, actually. I thought it was well scary. And another one, wonderful horror film that just kind of came out of left field. This is kind of a blind buy for me, and boy, did it ever surprise me at just how good it is. We have Mama. I did a review of this a while back. And then we have We Are Still Here, a fine return to form for the classic sort of haunted house story. Great movie. And The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter versus Ghosts. They're here. We have the original Poltergeist. I practically grew up on this movie. This was like my horror movie as a 10-year-old, and I just loved it over the years. And then we have Poltergeist 2 and 3. Now I should mention there's a few different editions of this out. There was a really nice digibook edition of the first one, which I obviously missed. And shortly after I bought this, Scream Factory released Poltergeist 2 and 3 in very nice collector's editions, which I do not have. And then from here, we kind of get into what I call my innovative horror collection, like sort of modern horror that breaks the mold a little bit. So we're just going to start up here. We have Happy Death Day, which if you've seen the film Groundhog Day, you'll kind of get the idea with this one. It's basically a woman reliving her own murder several times, like over and over and over again, and she's trying to find out who killed her, because she was killed by a mysterious mass killer, and try to stop him. So, hopefully. And as to what happens, you'll have to watch the movie and find out. I actually haven't watched it yet. I just know the concept of it, and I thought it sounded like fun. And then we, of course, have the Academy Award-winning film Get Out. Wonderful. Loved this movie. And then we have Shutter Island, which may be more thriller than horror, but whatever. I'm putting it in the horror section. And then going here, we have The Babadook. Really good stuff. And this is a special collector's edition with a pop-up Babadook in the middle. I had to special order this. There was another edition of this that was only available in Canada that had a different slipcover. And I just realized I completely forgot this is a Scream Factory release. I should have added this into my Scream Factory collection overview. Oops. Too late now. And then we have It Follows, which I really liked this one a lot, actually. Wonderful, creepy, sort of, slow-moving building of suspense. Like, just a wonderful idea. I really liked this a lot. And then we have The Witch, which completely baffles me as to how some people have said this isn't a horror film, or that it wasn't scary, or that it sucked. yeah, you're all stupid. Sorry. This was brilliant. And if you don't appreciate the gift that a film like this is to the horror genre, then I'm sorry, but you don't understand horror. Let me just elaborate on that for a moment here. What I mean by that is, horror is not just about blood and guts and splatter. That's not scary. That's not horror. That's just gore. That's not horror. Real horror is the kind of stuff that disturbs you, that gets under your skin and sticks there and stays there, that touches something deep inside of you in ways that maybe you don't fully understand. All you know is it unnerves you. That's what this movie does. And that's why this is innovative, exciting horror that I really hope we see more of. Because, quite frankly, it's like an injection of life into a genre that was becoming a bit stagnant. There we go. Alright, so, rant over. Carrying on here, we have a little bit of a classic section. We have House of Wax 3D. This also does include the 2D edition. And much like the old Snapper Case edition that I reviewed years ago, this also includes Mystery of the Wax Museum as a bonus. So it's basically the same contents, but you get the movie in high definition and 3D, which is pretty cool. And just to kind of have, I guess I actually have a little Vincent Price section here. Then from Twilight Time, we have Theater of Blood. And then we have Scream and Scream Again, which actually isn't a strict horror movie. There's horror elements, but there's also some sci-fi elements and some other elements. So it kind of defies clear classification, but I mean, Vincent Price, naked woman turning into a skeleton on the cover. Yeah, we'll just put it in the horror section. Then we have an absolute classic here. Finally got the high def treatment. The Old Dark House with Boris Karloff. And one of my all-time favorite silent films. But a beautiful edition from Kino, we have The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And then we have, oh, Ouija, sorry. And Ouija, Origin of Evil, which I understand is way better than the first one. I haven't watched either one of them yet. I'm going to triple bill them with Witchboard one of these days. Then we have Crimson Peak. Gothic romance for you. And then we have Dorian Gray, which I think is a wonderful adaptation of the classic Oscar Wilde story. And then we're into the found footage section. Well, let's start with the granddaddy of them all. It's actually a DVD set, but I wanted to kind of showcase it along with these. We have the Blair Witch Experience, which I actually did do a video all about this here, and just about the Blair Witch franchise in general. So if you want a closer look at that, take a look at my video about the Blair Witch franchise. And then, of course, we have Blair Witch, which is the recent take on it, which I thought was excellent and actually adds some interesting things to the lore. Good stuff. Really interesting extras on this, too. Where are we going here? Oh yeah, doesn't fit there. Never mind, I'll set it aside. And then, of course, we have the Paranormal Activity series. We've got the first one. And the second one. The third one. The fourth one. The fourth and a half one. We have the marked ones. Pretty cool lenticular cover there. I don't know how well you can see that. And then finally, the Ghost Dimension, which is the 5th one. I didn't realize at the time that there's actually a 3D edition of this as well. I remember watching it at the time thinking, wow, some of these effects would look really cool in 3D. And, well, yeah, it's a 3D movie. So I'm just going to have to get around to the other side here because it's getting a little hard to reach things. So I'm just going to move over here. Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through. Oh, that's much better. All right, and then we have Troll Hunter, which I absolutely love. I've watched this a few times. I've even watched this with Rosie, actually. She loves this one. She really enjoyed it a lot. Great stuff. Really good. Even if you don't like the found footage genre, generally, I highly recommend checking out this one. Make this the exception, because it's excellent. As Above, So Below. I always felt that the Paris catacombs were the perfect setting for horror, and glad to see that not only did someone agree, but they did a found footage type movie there, which is great. I really enjoyed that one a lot. Then we have the Chernobyl Diaries, which is mostly good, I thought. I think it kind of falls apart towards the end, but there's a lot of good stuff in the first half. Mr. Jones, which was excellent. I really liked this one a lot. This had some really interesting twists to it, and I thought it was very effectively done. And then we have Silent House, which I don't think is actually a found footage movie. It's been a while since I watched it, but essentially this whole thing is in real time. So essentially the entire thing is presented as one continuous shot, which tells the story. And it's essentially a haunted house / mystery stuff. Really, really good. I really liked this a lot. And I mean, obviously, it's not actually one continuous shot. There's a lot of tricks to kind of make it seem that way, but very well done. And seems to be a little underrated. Actually, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I really liked it a lot. We have Apollo 18, claustrophobic horror on the moon. Very good stuff. And then finally we have Unfriended. Yes. Internet video chatting goes horribly, horribly wrong. I know I'm always terrified whenever I do a Google Hangout. And then we have my little Stephen King section here. We've got a few goodies. We've got Pet Sematary, which I hear might be getting the remake treatment. Or I shouldn't say remake, I guess. Another adaptation of the novel. And then we have the remake of Carrie. How does this one go? Does it go like that? I can never tell. Oh no, it goes... Usually there's... Hold on. There we go. You can kind of see it there. And I should put it in the other place here. And then here we have the original version of Carrie. Scream Factory also did a special edition of this, which I have not upgraded to as of yet. I might get it at some point. I'm not in a huge rush because I was pretty happy with that edition, to be perfectly honest. Then we have Misery, which Scream Factory also did a recent collector's edition of, which I may or may not upgrade to because I was pretty happy with this edition as well. So, yeah. Sometimes you double dip, sometimes you don't. And we got Salem's Lot, the original miniseries. It'd be nice if we could also get the movie cut on Blu-ray just for completion's sake. Then we have the original TV miniseries version of It from 1990, which I actually watched this with Rosie recently. Rosie being my 10-year-old daughter, by the way, and she really enjoyed it. She didn't find it all that scary. It's a little tame by today's standards. And then here, of course, is the recent, the 2017 version of It, which I thought was excellent. I actually really liked this a lot, and I can't wait for the second part. Excellent stuff. And no, it's not a remake of the 1990s miniseries. It's just another adaptation of the book. However, for fans of the 1990s version, or who grew up with it or nostalgic about it, there are some nice little nods to it in there, which I thought was pretty cool. And then finally we have The Mist. Now this is the 2-disc collector's edition that also includes the black and white version, by the way. And then I have my little Fred Decker section here. Got Night of the Creeps. Thrill Me. Great stuff. Love that movie. And then we have The Monster Squad, which I know a lot of people are very nostalgic about. I kind of missed this one when it originally came out, but really enjoyed it upon finally seeing it. And I believe I did some videos about those a while back. And then here we've got my horror anthology section. Got some really cool stuff in here. I definitely need to get more of these. I love anthology horror. Got Tales That Witness Madness. The House That Dripped Blood, which features John Pertwee as a vampire. Yes, the Third Doctor. And then a double bill of Tales from the Crypt and The Vault of Horror. This is not the HBO Tales from the Crypt. This is the 70s anthology films. And the stories in these are actually based pretty directly on stories from the original comic books, which is pretty cool. They're pretty much straight-up adaptations of them. So, very cool stuff. I did a video about the DVD edition of that a while ago. Then we have Nightmares, which I did a review of a while back. Great 80s anthology horror film. And a recent one that really brought back the anthology horror film in style. We have Trick or Treat. And not only that, but it's also a Halloween-themed one as well, which is great. So, keep hoping we'll get a sequel to this. There's been talk of doing a sequel for a very long time. But it seems to be kind of in limbo right now. So hopefully we'll get that soon. And there you go. That is it for this shelf. So there you go. Quite a mix of stuff there. Once again, I'm sure you'll agree. Yeah, if you're looking for some classy horror, pretty much anything in this section gets my vote, gets my recommendation. Alrighty, that is it for me to you for now. Next time around, got a very special shelf to take a look at, which contains my entire Godzilla and Kaiju collection, so be sure to pop by and check that out. And there's a few other assorted things here, such as the Universal Monsters Legacy sets, which I briefly touched on in one of the other overview videos there. Yeah, so I hope to see you there. Until then, thanks for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, and sayonara. Okay. The shelf. The movies. And we have Poltergeist Legacy. What am I talking about? That's not what we... That's the TV series. I don't have that. I'm fine. From, shit, this is a Scream Factory title. I didn't even realize. Oh! From your angle, it looked like I was making out with the camera.